Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a subscriber who is going to share some of his brief encounters in South Carolina. He also had a terrifying night with his uncle in South Carolina. Before we get into Kobe and what he is going to share with us, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch store to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook version. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. They're available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. The links to those audiobooks are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Alright, everybody, today I have a subscriber. He has shared his encounter with us. I believe it was him and his uncle's encounter. And Kobe, how are you today?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon to share this with us. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, it's no problem.
So, about a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago, you shared your encounter with us. And I'm just going to give you the floor so we can hear it in your words.
Okay, you want me to just start from the beginning?
Yep, start wherever you want, my friend.
Okay, like I said, it was just any other day. It was in the winter. Uncle just calls me up, wants me to go camping, we chop the wood and everything like that. And he before we went actually squirrel hunting that night, he gave me a walkie-talkie, and he kept one too. I failed to mention this in the thing. And we actually separated and hunted for a while. I didn't really notice anything, but it was when I was actually going back to link up with him after we hunted the squirrel. I don't know if this has anything to do with it or not, but while I was going back, I was just kind of whistling to myself, and I swear every so often something would actually like whistle back at me, like almost like human like, but I'm not 100% sure if that has anything to do with it or not. But this happened all the way until I meet up with him. And that's when on the way back to the camp, we run into the coyote carcasses and everything like that. And
Can you describe the coyote carcasses for us?
Yeah, it wasn't. If I had to say how fresh they were, I would say it was the last night before that day, and the guts, man, were just, it was everywhere. I mean, they were just torn apart. I don't even think there's literally hardly any bears down here. I guess a bear could do something like this, but I've seen plenty of coyote carcasses, deer, and I've never seen anything like this, man. I mean, they were just torn to shreds.
Okay.
And of course, my uncle's like a 6'2" dude. He's like 300 and something pounds. I mean, he's huge. He's not scared of anything. And he automatically just told me, they were just probably maybe like 2 packs of coyotes fighting or something like that. I said, okay, that makes sense. We get back to camp that night, cook everything, and while we were sitting by the fire, we actually heard some coyotes off in the distance, right? And I mean, they were like, at first it sounded like they were fighting, but all of a sudden, I mean, it sounded like something just got a hold of a couple of them, and they were literally screaming for their life, yelling. And he told me, they're probably just fighting again or something like that. And I told him, I said, I don't know about this one, man. And he said, I don't know, maybe a bobcat got a hold of one or something like that. And I said, well, I don't know. But I mean, I could look at his face and tell he was just wondering,
Right.
And that night, we go to sleep and everything like that. And that was when, it was like an hour, 30 minutes later, 2 hours. It's when he woke back up, screaming and everything. He was covered in sweat. We get sit by a fire and everything, ask him what's wrong. He tells me about, the female and I think she was wearing like a white dress, and she was literally like tied. I mean, hands tied behind her back. She was on a horse, and these dudes in occult robes were actually like guiding her along a trail that was near our camp, that was coming alongside of our camp. And when she got right next to us, she stared at her, like looked over at her, and kind of looked in his eyes and everything like that, and woke up screaming.
And that was a dream your uncle was having. He didn't see it. He dreamt about that, right?
Right. He did. He dreamt about it.
Okay.
But that kind of thinking back on it now, it made me wonder if there was something paranormal behind it, because we did have a trail camera photo of this thing. He doesn't know what he done with it, but it was actually, I think, 2 months after that. No, 2 weeks. I'm sorry. He actually got like photos on his trail camera of these like white glowing orbs, and he actually had one video of them, and they were actually moving while they were floating. And he told me it kind of looked like, like a spirit, them orbs you see, like on TV and all that stuff like that. And it really just makes you wonder. But getting to the creature, like the picture of this thing was, man, it was kind of like a wolf in a way. I mean, it was pitch black, but the thing about it was it kind of had a hunched back at the top part of it, and it was really thick fur at the top, and at the bottom of its back, it didn't really have much hair, and it had a long bushy tail, and I mean the muscles on this thing, you could just see them, and it had like fiery reddish orange eyes, pointed ears, and we have no wolves down here in South Carolina, none whatsoever. And this thing on all fours had to be at least, just guessing, 4 feet off the ground, just by guessing. I mean, we went back and actually kind of looked into the background to try to estimate how big it was, and it had to be at least 4 feet off the ground. But I said in the interview thing that I actually thought I'd seen this, but I wasn't 100% sure. That was I actually went hunting again after that night. I was hearing the creature, but I never seen it. On the way back, I was on my 4-wheeler going down the trail that actually came past where we were camping, and something big and black broke the brush on my left side, and I mean it's like it just took one giant leap and ended up on the right side. I'm talking about just broke through them branches like it wasn't nothing. And I don't know what it was. Looked too big to be a bear to me, but I couldn't really tell what it was, and it was out. I mean, it was out of view really quick. And I actually mentioned that I had a buddy not far from me who actually claimed to see this thing. It was on a dirt road not too far from where the woods was. He said it kind of it jumped out into the road. It was at night. He had his headlights on. He said it stopped dead in its tracks, looked at him, and I'm not too sure about this part. He might be telling the truth. I mean, who am I to say? He claims this thing actually stand up on its hind legs and sniffed the air at him, and he had like a 44 Magnum that he kept behind the seat in the holster, and he reached for it, and as soon as he looked back up, he said the thing leaped across the road again. Yeah, but I'm not too sure about that. But I mean, I don't see why he would lie. But when I described it to him, I was like, he said, "Dang, that looks exactly like what I seen." And the coyote population around here dwindled for a while. Like you would not see hardly any in my area. But when they started logging everything out around here a lot more than what they were, the coyote population started coming back, and it kind of made me wonder if like maybe the logging kind of drove this thing away. I'm not 100% sure about that. I never seen the tracks, and my uncle didn't take a picture of them, but my uncle did claim he went into the woods and actually seen tracks of this thing. And I can't really remember how big he said it was, but he said it was definitely no bear, way too big to be a coyote. Well, let me try to think. when I went hunting that night, when I heard this creature, my uncle was not with me that night. He was, but he was like hunting way on the other side of the woods.
Can you
And this
explain
creature,
the sounds that you were hearing?
it's hard, man. Like I can't hardly describe it. Like it made like a scream, it almost sounded like a woman scream mixed with something in a way. I cannot describe it at all. But
Right.
it was after that it started making like something almost like a monkey would make almost.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, literally, I when I heard that, I stood up in the stand, and I swear, I mean, my legs were shaking, man. I was almost too scared to come out of the stand. I thought, I mean, I could actually hear something running through the woods, and I I was going to get down, but I figured, well, if this thing actually might try to ambush me once I get down to the bottom, and it wasn't long after that, my uncle actually pulled up with a four-wheeler and everything like that, and he was coming to pick me up and everything like that, and he cut it off because he could tell something was wrong with me, and I said, man, I don't know, man, I think I might have actually heard this thing, and he says, are you serious? I said, yeah, and he said, I thought it was you or something making them noises, and I said, no. He said, I've never heard anything like that in my life, and I said, I ain't either, and just like when that was when we went back um when we got home that night. Well, I can't really, no, I don't even know where to go from here, man.
All right, that's
Be honest.
I appreciate that part. Now when me and you were talking, you had mentioned something about hunting. And you talked to some Native American hunters that you've hunted with. You want to share that with
Right.
us?
Yeah. I've hunted in several states in here. And I actually, it was one time when I went to Tennessee. I met some Native Americans, and at the time, this was after everything that went on, and after that is when I really got interested in this whole like cryptid thing or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I actually asked them if they had any stories or anything like that, and they were telling me about Sasquatch and all that stuff like that, and he told me that they actually, years before even the settlers got to America, that they lived alongside these creatures like in peace, you could say. They didn't bother each other at all. But as once the settlers got over here and like civilization kind of built up, there's been a lot of interactions with humans and Bigfoot, and they won't, it always ends up in gunfire most of the time. And I guess he's kind of explaining how they kind of got upset with humans, and now they kind of try to map out paths to take through the woods and everything like that to avoid humans.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense, because that might be why hardly anybody sees these things anymore. And I definitely believe in them, but I mean, that's I believe them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
but
obviously. Well, my friend, I appreciate you sharing your encounter with us. Don't hang up. I'm gonna end the upload right now. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the subscribers to end this video with?
well, I never really said what I thought this thing was. If I had to say what it would probably either have to be probably it almost looked like a mutant wolf, but I'm still kind of skeptical in the supernatural. But I've talked to people, and two people have told me two separate things. One dude told me it could be a hellhound. I said, okay, I mean, I guess it's a possibility. And another guy told me, well, that sounds almost just like a skinwalker. And I said, yeah, I've heard of skinwalkers, but I've never heard of them being towards, down in South Carolina or anything like that. I think that's more out like west, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I can't really say what it is.
Right.
But
do you mind if I share the drawing that you drew of it?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm definitely no artist, but I mean that's the best way I could, draw what this thing looked like.
I appreciate that too. I really do.
Yeah.
That way, some people can get kind of a clue of what you saw that day. So, but Kobe, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I know it's probably kind of nervous jumping on here and sharing your
Yeah, I
story.
mean,
So
I was at work, it's been a long day. I really didn't plan for this.
right.
I mean, I try to tell it the best that I can, but
You
it
did a
was so
great
long
job. I
ago.
appreciate it, man. I really do. I really appreciate it. So, don't hang up. I'll talk to you for a few minutes after. And thank you for coming on, man.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
All right, guys. So during Kobe's interview, he had just gotten out of work and he was nervous as all could be. We talked for about 20 minutes after, and he wanted to fill some things in. He didn't really want to redo the interview because, well, as you can hear, he was nervous. It's a nerve-wracking thing discussing discussing your experiences. Also, it's a nerve-wracking thing knowing that you're going to be listened to by other people and possibly judged. Unfortunately, there are those people that judge. So there's a couple of things that he wanted me to include in this. About a month later, him and his uncle went out into that same portion of woods, and they hiked pretty deep out there. There's some old access roads and fire roads out there, but they went about, I don't know, we'll say an hour out deep. And they came up to an abandoned home. There was an old abandoned car out there. The furniture was still there. It was like they had left. There was an old cemetery out there that was by this house. Shortly after, he then was, as he shared, on his four-wheeler, and the thing that ran in front of him smelled strong of sulfur. Okay. Now, Kobe is his theory on these things or what he saw is that they are demonic. He really feels there is a paranormal essence to these creatures, which I do too. But then I feel like they are flesh and blood as well. So it's kind of it's a really hard line, and that's why I do keep an open mind. And so anyway, needless to say, they got a really bad, eerie feeling out there. He and his uncle really feel like there was some sort of satanic ritual, possibly the bad vibes, or whatever else had happened out there, brought this creature into these woods where he hunts. So he's on the fence, and I appreciate that. Really great guy, great kid. He's a kid, younger than I am. But I can't imagine what it must have been like to, hike out after having that experience with your uncle and then come to this weird looking house, cemetery. But then I got to thinking, cemetery, out in the woods. What loves sleeping near and in cemeteries? Dogman. So I really think that, yeah, quite possibly there is a paranormal essence out there. And yeah, quite possibly the Dogman got attracted to it, or it was a hellhound and it was just summoned to this area. So then he was out on his great uncle's property, and he was out riding his four-wheeler, and the sky is this weird orange color, just this one portion, and he sees these three huge balls, and they're in the form of a triangle. As he looked up, he could tell that it was solid because he couldn't see the stars. You could see the stars around this thing, but not through it. So whatever these three balls, they were connected to something in the middle. Could that be possibly does that have some sort of tie-in? Who knows? it's strange, and I was talking to him, and I said, I really feel like they are all tied in together somehow. Somehow there's missing links to these things, and not just one, because just look at Skinwalker Ranch or other places that have these same creepy factors, we'll just say. You've got cryptids, you've got paranormal, you've got apparitions, you've got UFOs, you've got portals. Could they possibly be from some sort of satanic ritual? Could these places like Skinwalker Ranch, like the southern, or what they call Southern Skinwalker Ranch, or these places across the seas, maybe these are where the angels fell, and that's why they're so unsacred, and this crazy bullshit happens there. Who knows? It's a possibility. So, anyway, I just wanted to share the little bit of stuff me and Kobe had talked about after, and yeah, great kid. So, today's second part of the upload. This happened June 26, 2021, at 10 a.m., just northeast of Bray Road and south of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, on a property we do environmental monitoring at. The site's in a wooded area. Upon exiting, my coworker and I noticed a loud, deep growl/scream coming deeper into the woods. After a few moments, my coworker shouted several hellos, but to nothing. About 10 minutes later, we were on another part of the property just outside of the tree line, in an old quarry, grabbing some samples, when a flock of crow on a ridge about 100 yards started panicking. This went on for a minute or two. Upon looking up at the crows, I noticed a large, brown and gray upright figure duck down in the tree line. Please note I only saw the figure for a few seconds. However, it looked bigger than I am, and I'm 6'4", 230. After that, we left and spent some time trying to figure out what made that sound. It was a monotone sound. It did not have pitch like a wild pig. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed today's upload. A little bit different, an interview with just some information to kick around. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you guys are, and have a great rest of your day. With that, I'm going to bid you farewell, and see ya!